Back to Barry Ross Show. I'm Erica Green. I'm actually a representative host of Better Detroit Youth Movement. And today we have two new guests who I will allow to introduce themselves.
Go ahead. Well, hello, I'm Evan Nash. I'm a brother in King's Fraternity Incorporated, which is a Christian fraternity.
And I'm Jarrell Woods. I'm president of King's Christian Fraternity on Mary Groves campus.
Okay, today's topic is voting and accountability. And we all three have the great opportunity to go out in an interview. Our question is, do you vote? What are the importance of voting?
Well, for a lot of us, when we ran out and interviewed people, some of the biggest things that we had from our voters and non-voters was a majority of them would say that they voted, even some of the youth, but then there were just a small fraction that would say that they wouldn't vote.
Pretty much that. And myself, yes, I am an active voter.
Me too. Well, this will be my first year actually voting, but I actually got the experience at my high school of how election would go, how the document would go about, so I would have an understanding of when it came to my time to vote, that I would be more clear and understood and know how to vote.
Right. And it's important because this time is coming around again where voting is needed, and we want to make sure us as the youth get out there and encourage the youth to take their part and have their voice and tell them the importance of it. And that was some of our questions. So for us, when we would ask a lot of the youth, do you vote? We had a percentage. We interviewed about 16 people, and then out of the 16, there were about 6 non-voters, and we found that majority of them were between the ages of 18 and 23.
Yeah.
You know, and the reason why they wouldn't vote was because they felt that they didn't have enough information on it, which showed that they had a lack of knowledge. And that tells us, like, you know, it's important for us to make sure we reach out to the youth, because the ones that would vote was a high percentage of adults.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
They were like 22 and over. You rarely, what we call one 18-year-old, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I got a variety range of, I had 3 voters. I had a first beginner, which was myself, and then I had one that said they didn't vote, and I asked why would you vote, and they said because it takes too much time, it's too long to wait in line to go vote. It's like, I guess they want to speed the process, but
Impatient and being lazy.
yeah, it was crazy.
Okay.
You know, one of our questions was, what's the importance of voting? And we had one of our people say that they felt that it would help us as a people in a nation to keep us free and to also have a voice in this country. What do you guys think about that?
A voice. Well, is it really a voice? Do we really know where our votes go? Do we know if they're going to where they're supposed to go? It's like, it's always that question.
But would you rather try or just be one of those who stay in the dark and not do anything at all?
Well, I'm trying.
You're trying?
I'm trying.
All right, sister, we on the same team.
And we also, one of the older persons that I interviewed, he's around like 50, in his 50s, and he said the problem of why people don't vote because they don't know the value of voting. They don't understand. If they was more educated on what voting is, why it was established, what can it help, how can we go about it, giving them more information, educating them more of what is voting, why should you vote, what's the value of voting.
Yeah.
Because it's to be honest,
benefits?
it's true. It is a lack of education on voting.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
It really is.
Yeah.
We actually ran into a few individuals that had no knowledge whatsoever of the voting world. And those that we did run into, one individual I remember the most, he spoke about his knowledge of voting came strictly off of what his family told him. And most of these were negative comments. So he was kind of timid about voting, you know, off and on. He really didn't believe in it. He didn't believe his voice really counted, but time and time again, he would vote. And it's one thing I want to say is that families don't step up enough to really teach the ins and outs of the voting world. Our school system, actually, when I recall back when I was in high school, it was skimmed over. We wasn't really knowledgeable about voting, and I can honestly say most of my senior class I graduated with are non-voters. So I had to do my own research. I had to take my own initiative, and I had to get on my own mind about voting and which side I want to be on, Democrat or Republican. So
Republican.
that's how that went.
Well, I was a very lucky person because it was brought up. I was in student government, and the point was brought up by the students that we should have like elections, so students in the school, like it was nationwide, not just for the seniors to do, but for all grades, so just to get the understanding, the feeling of it. We had the booth. We was in there writing our name, filling in our information on how voting would go about. And it's like, that was just a great experience because now I understand, like, how it would go, how the document may look, have somewhat of it. Because some people just may like, no, that's a waste of my time.
Wow. And, you know, we had 2 voters who stuck out like a sore thumb for us because they were extremely passionate. And they said to us, we asked them the question, then who's responsible? And the young lady said to us that she felt that it's a personal decision. You should be responsible. This is your life. This is your vote. If you think about it this way, when you want to be informed about something, you go out and seek it out. If you want to know about technology, you seek it out. If you need a job, you go out and you seek it.
When we want to see what's going on at the mall, we show up every week, twice,
you show up
3
at
times.
the mall.
Yes.
Yeah, and then the young man that was with her said, you know, I feel as though it's not all on the people. I believe that if it is on the people, then it's on our schools, it's on our family members, and they should help show their children the importance of voting because it also benefits our community and help us take care of ourselves and keeps us educated on what's current going on within our own nation.
Yes.
Well, you're right. I think like if you seek the information, you're more informed, you learn more. But it's sometimes we gotta think about those that can't seek, those who have wheelchairs, those who can't see, those who can't hear.
Yeah.
Like, how can we get it to them? How
Right.
can we get them to vote? How can we reach out to them? So we gotta make it not just about the ones that got ears, eyes, and can see and walk, but we gotta think about those who's in wheelchairs, those who can't see, those who can't hear. Because we say we broadcasting and we informing television. Okay, I can't see. How can I see television?
And that's why I guess our question came in to play when we said, who should the politicians be responsible for us as the youth or adults, handicapped people who may not have, you know, the access to get up and go out and do certain things to find out about elections coming up? Should they be responsible for educating us?
Yes.
And a lot of people said, you know, they should be held accountable. They should be going door to door. They should be going to schools. They should be really marketing themselves and advertising all that they say they're going to do and let us know about them, their purpose inside and out. And then we have others who said, you know, for like just before, it's important that you seek it out. It was one of those same situations that you had to come and educate yourself.
I honestly feel that our politicians need more than TV spots and commercials to get the word out on themselves and what they plan on doing, what they plan on changing, even what they feel that's comfortable that's going on today, these laws and acts that we have. What about, like he said, I mean, it should be more than just our city council members and our mayors wanting to go door to door to promote themselves. You know, why hide behind the computers and the television screens? Why not talk to the people, those who are voting for you?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Become more personable.
Thank you.
For us.
I'll say, okay, we're going to hit one of the points was those who don't vote.
Yeah.
Those who don't vote. Well, it goes from a wide range. Some may not vote because, you know, you never know what you fall into. Some can't read. If you look at Detroit, our city rate of the reading and people that's in school, and
It's a big
like
rate of literacy.
yeah, so they may not know how to read, so they don't want to go and make themselves look a fool, so they just stay away. And it's like we don't want them to stay away because their voice still count. You may not be able to read, write, but let us help you. Let us try. It's always help. It's always something. There's always a solution. And one of the things was non-voters was you may have a record.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And does that hinder a person from pursuing because a lot of them felt paranoid about them being found
and being on record and being under surveillance or such. It became more of a conspiracy theory coming out of a lot of people's. Even those with potential, who have potential warrants, not exactly they have it, they may not even know, but those who feel they may have potential warrants out there were very afraid. They were discouraged.
Yeah.
You know, and back to what you said about the insecurities and the illiteracy, we shouldn't let insecurities and fear stop us. Fear has no place here in the world, and if it does, you're falling behind and you will get lost.
Yeah.
You'll be left behind. It's very unfortunate with the warrants, and people feel that way. Under surveillance, you know, privacy be invaded, you know.
Well, I didn't actually think of what this was, but someone else also said sex offenders.
Sex offenders.
Because you got to think, if they're not registered, and they where they say they supposed to be registered, and they go and vote and put another address, boom, that's Like, for real?
Yes, it's
Exactly.
amazing. You know, a lot of people get like certain small offenses, even misdemeanors, of confused with the law that says if you're a convicted felon, you cannot vote. And a lot of people who just may even have a warrant or have issues with the police get that confused and don't want to vote. See, if you're not knowledgeable, you have to do your own research. You have to learn the ins and outs, because a lot of people, just because they have a warrant or may have some type of run-in with the police or the law, who aren't felons, won't vote because they don't know the extent of the law. They get that confused with the law that states that if you are a convicted felon, you are not allowed to vote unless you go to some type of court and speak to a judge and your parole officer or probation officer about getting that record expunged.
Right.
So.
And a lot of people also had fears of the bill collectors, finance companies chasing them down. They felt that if they were to put their information down for voting, then that would be a way for the government to track them.
Yes.
And that hinders us from progress in the city and all over the nation as well. So those were some of the issues and the stigmas that kind of keep us from moving forward, and that's something that we have to take attack, because if all of our minority or youth are afraid to step up and vote because of those issues in their past, it hinders us all.
Yes.
And we're not having that fair number, that full number that we really think is out there.
Right.
It's unknown.
Well, I don't know if you guys have given a lot of people in your interviews have told you, but it's like, my voice don't count, my vote don't count.
Yeah.
Like it don't
again.
count. It
That's
don't
right.
count. Like how do you know if it count or not if you don't vote?
That's
Exactly.
right.
You would never
That's
know.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
we need to get
Yeah.
that together. Like if you go back in time, those and back in slavery before voting became half of them probably didn't know how to read
Yeah.
Yes.
or write, but
Mhm.
they understood it. They learned it. They made themselves learn it just before they
Yeah.
could have a voice. And now that we're given a voice to
Yeah.
vote, it's like
Yeah.
people taking it for granted.
I think we
Very
should
much so.
encourage the youth to take a look at that, because when we look at the past and the history of what voting does, you have to say, if they had not did what they did, we
Yes.
wouldn't be here today.
Exactly.
We wouldn't have the freedom. We wouldn't have the equality. We wouldn't have women's
jobs.
rights and
Yes,
liberty.
women's rights,
Just all of those things came out of taking a stand. So we encourage you to take a stand like us, and it's
Please so.
important that we all come together and educate one another. We can no longer be in darkness. We have to,
Step into the light.
knowledge is power. It's so simplistic, but
Yeah.
it's so vital. So
Very imperative. Like you said before, if it wasn't for our ancestors, we wouldn't be here ready to vote or able to vote, So we have to honor that.
yeah,
We have to respect it, and we have to honor that.
yeah,
Not only about honor, but we actually have to get out and get registered.
yeah.
People are
Thank
like
you.
it's
First
so
step.
so much hard work to register to vote. I registered. I was still in high school, but my birthday was around the corner. But it's like half of my whole senior class was registered and voted before we even graduated. So it's like we made a success point if we can go not only to the streets but into our schools and start with our seniors, because we know they're reaching that age limit of
That's
being
right.
able to be able to vote. And it's like if we get them registered then.
Yeah.
They wouldn't even have to worry about it as their life gets so busy into college or they got this and this. Like, it's no time.
Yeah.
So I think if we go back into the schools, start with our seniors,
Yeah.
the youth,
Yeah.
to get them
Exactly.
registered and voted, because it was actually a successful program. It was really nice to see a lot of people like wanting to have their self-confident, like, yes, I registered to vote. Yes, I get to wear this sticker, because next it's going to be saying I voted.
Exactly.
And you know what? We as the Better Detroit Youth Movement, we encourage you to take a stand. And we have to think about this. We hear a lot of people say to us that their voice doesn't count and nothing changes. But nothing changes, because guess what? You haven't stepped up to the plate and you haven't made your voice heard. You've seen no progress because made a decision.
You have done
so if you
nothing.
take this chance to actually say, hey, let me just try this one time to
Right.
see what happens. Just pair up with us this one time to vote and see what happens in your city. Something simple like that. You have to actually, in order to get you have to put something out there in order to receive something, and if you're not giving any of your time, effort, or energy towards this
Yes.
forward movement, then we're going to stay where we are.
Yes.
And if you desire change in your life, if you want to see your neighborhoods changed and your city changed, your friends and families changed, and the energy of Detroit to go up in a positive way, you have to make some type of movement yourself.
Something that really bothered me is that one non-voter was so into it that like we should be against, like he wanted to be against voting, like he didn't believe in it whatsoever.
Yeah.
That he honestly believed if we did vote, nothing would change or improve, regardless of the victor. Nothing would change, nothing would improve. So he was just so deep into it that was no point. of voting.
Well, I think that's his mindset. And a lot of people keep saying, "Well, we can't change our city. We can't change this. We can't change this. We can't." That's your mindset. So if that is in your mind, you're going to try to make it not happen. You're going to not even give a little step to trying to improve it. So it's like, come on, change your mind, y'all.
It's brainwashing yourselves.
Give it a try. Just give it a try. That's one of the things we have to think of. One of the issues that we had, it was something so. It was interesting. We would ask people, "Do you vote?" And they would say no, but they knew the importance of voting. It was so strange, and we would continue to run into people like that. They know what voting could do, but they wouldn't step up to plate and actually do it. So those are some of the issues we're dealing with.
Yeah, the majority of the non-voters that we interviewed actually spoke so strongly about the importance of voting and about how the politicians should be not accountable, but the people should be accountable for the lack of voting. Yet these people don't vote. Yeah. Which is very confusing, very ironic. So we had to think about that. Just really blew our minds.
I think they have the knowledge to understand it. They have the knowledge to know what it is. But you look at yourself like, I have the knowledge, but I'm not going to use it. I'm not going to try to use it. I'm not going to try to make impact. It's crazy. Why do you have the knowledge? You're just going to waste it?
Yeah. Right. So I would love to get to the nucleus of that and figure out why. Where's that breakdown? Where's that malfunction happening at? You can be so knowledgeable and so strong opinionated. If I'm saying that right. Help me out, brother.
Opinionated. That's what it is.
But yet they refuse to vote. Like I said before, they believe that the people should be fully accountable, and they feel like the importance of voting is so strong and so vital, but they don't vote. It's confusing.
Oh, wow. This is interesting. We're going to take a call. Better Detroit Youth Movement. Okay. So I think from my point of view is that we can, not only I would take my own from here today, tonight, to try to get more people in, to get out and vote. Even a lot of my family say they don't vote, but it's like, why you don't vote? We don't have the time. But you can have the time. You can make the time to go shopping. You can stand in a line for a pair of boots or a pair of new shoes or a new game station for hours. Yeah. But voting, come on.
What's really important.
That's really
what's really important.
Priorities are just so correct and straight on these days, right?
Like, don't complain about the problems if you ain't willing to put an effort in. Like, come on. Like,
that's right.
You telling me it's a problem,
please.
Oh, no.
But why is it a problem? You telling me it's a problem here, is a problem in the city, but why is it a problem?
It's like 5 people standing around a garbage can. It's a piece of trash on the floor. Nobody's picking it up, but everybody's complaining.
Yes.
And then finally one guy, most likely myself, comes and pick it up. And
my brother, please don't talk about the trash in the city. You will not help us out. Thank you.
We won't go there.
Well, tonight's show has went really well. We hope that we have given you the most information of voting, the values of looking to understanding what voting is, the values of voting, those who made so much of a difference to get us the rights to vote. Please take that into consideration of, well, let me give it a try, and just go from there. Because if you take one step, I'm not asking you just to take a whole big step, like jump into it, but just give it some progress as if you want to register to vote. And then call a friend. I know anybody ask someone to take you down to register. Yes. Go on the internet. Try the libraries.
Twitter.
Yes.
If you buy you.
Facebook.
Well, Barry is also giving us a really good show to be able to come on and speak out and reach to people in the community. But check out Mixing It Up with Barry Ross on Facebook, Better Detroit Youth Movement on Facebook. And you can also check myself, Erica Green, on Facebook. And just give me a personal call at 313-739-5590. And again, that is 313-739-5590. You guys want to give your number?
Sure. Evan Nash here. You can reach me at evanjnash@gmail.com. Reach me at 313-898-5040. Once again, our King's Fraternity Incorporated is founded on Mary Grove College.
And you can reach me at 313-854-3256, jwoods1281 at marygrove.edu. Thank you
for joining the show. Join us next time with Mixing It Up with Barry Ross on demand. Thank you.
Thursdays, 9 p.m. on TV 33. Join me, Barry Ross, on Mixing It Up. We'll feature informative community organizations that will offer solutions to Wayne County residents. in reference to employment, safety, and security within neighborhoods, job training, education, and mentoring programs. Remember, Tuesdays, 9 p.m. Join me, Barry Ross, mixing it up on TV 33.
Stop wasting all your hard-earned money putting ads in the newspapers.